Jessica and Emily had been best friends since childhood. They knew everything about each other. Their first kisses, the dumbest mistakes, their secret desires. Both were married, but neither had children, so they often escaped to bars and cafes just to unwind and be themselves. Not wives, just friends. Their husbands didn't mind. In fact, they believed that space was important in a healthy marriage. One Saturday, like many before, the two women dressed up, did their makeup, slipped into dresses, and headed to a familiar downtown cafe. They ordered wine, small bites, and started their evening as usual. But everything changed when the DJ started playing throwback hits from the 90s. The music pulled them to the dance floor. Jessica, a curvy brunette with bold eyes. Emily, a slender blonde with icy blue ones. The contrast between them always attracted attention, and they knew it. They didn't mind using it to their advantage either. After dancing, they returned to their table, laughing, whispering, sharing stories like always. Later, they stepped outside for a cigarette. The cool air, mixed with the wine, made their conversation looser, more revealing. Jessica started talking about how her husband had been behaving in bed recently. Emily listened wide-eyed, lighting a second cigarette. Right when it got juicy, a drunk man tried to flirt with them. They brushed him off and returned inside. Emily demanded the rest of the story. What she heard didn't just surprise her, it stirred something else. A flicker of jealousy. She, too, began sharing her own intimate moments. They talked like two girls watching a spicy drama. Just curiosity. Just fantasy. But something unspoken had already started to shift. They danced again, then called a cab together. It was more fun that way. In the back seat, they kept chatting, giggling, teasing. The driver kept glancing at them through the mirror. But at some point, they both fell quiet, as if they simultaneously realized that they weren't just talking about fantasies anymore. Emily was the first to be dropped off. She said goodbye and went upstairs. Her husband was waiting in the living room. He smiled. She returned a cold nod. That night, she lay in the dark for a long time, replaying the conversation with Jessica. The words, the images, the heat in her chest. Then she picked up her phone and texted her friend. Just a few words, but that's all it took. Jessica replied almost instantly. What if we try? Just 4 words, but they held everything. Emily stared at the screen, her heart pounding, not with fear, but anticipation. The next morning, they met at a cafe. No makeup, takeout coffee, like in no college days. They spoke in hushed tones, making sure no one could overhear. Jessica had a suggestion. Let's spend a weekend out of town. No pressure, just grilling, wine, couples, and then see what happens. Emily nodded. The idea sounded insane, risky, reckless, but it also felt thrilling. They set ground rules. It had to be mutual, no pressure. Everyone had to agree. One night, that's it. The husbands suspected nothing. On the contrary, they were excited about the getaway. Emily told hers that Jessica wanted to get out of the city for some fresh air. He smiled. Perfect. I'll man the grill. Everything went smoothly. Friday afternoon, they shopped together. Meat, drinks, snacks. The women picked outfits that were subtle but flattering. Every detail had been thought out. The cabin was near the woods. Birds chirping, wind rustling the leaves. Complete silence. The men poured drinks while the women laughed like it was any other night. At dinner, they joked, shared stories, drank just enough. Then the guys stepped out to grill, while Jessica and Emily stayed on the porch. "So?" Emily asked, watching Jessica closely. "I think it's time," Jessica said quietly. They brought the men another glass of wine. No food this time. That was part of the plan. The guys were already buzzed and in a good mood. When dinner was ready, they all sat down. Wine, grilled meat, the scent of pine in the air, it all lined up. Then came the moment. Emily set her glass down, looked into her husband's eyes, and said, "Jessica and I have been talking about something unusual. Don't freak out. Just hear me out." The men exchanged puzzled glances. "We want to try switching partners for one night. No strings. We think it might spice things up. No jealousy, no regrets, just honesty." Silence. Nobody knew what to say. Then Emily's husband smirked. "You girls, you really come up with the wildest ideas." Jessica didn't look away. "We're serious." The men looked at each other again and nodded. Emily was stunned. Her chest tightened. Her mind raced. But it was too late to turn back. An hour later, they each went to bed with someone else. And the night was unforgettable. Morning felt different. No laughter. No loud coffee brewing. Just silence. Words stuck somewhere between the sheets and the lingering glances. Emily joined her, cup in hand, eyes lost. "Do you think it was a mistake?" she asked softly. Jessica stayed quiet for a long time. "I don't know, but something definitely changed." They didn't discuss details. Each kept their own memories to themselves. But it was clear there was more between them now than friendship. Something unspoken. The men acted off. Emily noticed hers grew quiet, smoked more. Jessica's husband, on the other hand, seemed brighter, like he'd come alive, and that stung. Days passed. Life returned to normal, on the surface. But Jessica was on her phone more. Emily spent longer in the bathroom, lost in thought. Then everything unraveled. Emily couldn't stay silent anymore. She confronted her friend. "We said one night, but I feel like you kept going. Am I wrong?" Jessica didn't answer, just stared out the window. That silence said everything. "I knew it," Emily whispered. "I just didn't think it would happen to me." Jessica turned. "I didn't plan it, but when he's around, I feel at peace. Like a woman again, for the first time in years." Emily looked away, boiling inside. Betrayal from her friend and her husband. "You ruined everything," she said, voice trembling. "For what?" "For what I was missing. Love, care, feeling like myself again." That night, Emily told her husband everything. About the night, the aftermath, her pain. He was silent, then got up, grabbed his coat and left. He didn't come back. Not that night, not the next morning. A month passed. Emily lived alone. He sent brief texts, wired money. "Don't wait." She tried to be strong, went to work, smiled at coworkers. But inside, Everything was burnt out. Her heart, her trust, her confidence. Meanwhile, Jessica moved into Emily's old house with her ex. Not officially together, but clearly heading there. Neighbors whispered. Old ladies stared. Jessica didn't care. She felt needed, but inside something gnawed at her. A growing life and a growing fear. She didn't know whose baby it was. One morning, she got violently sick. Her partner rushed her to the doctor. Tests. Ultrasounds. The doctor smiled. Congratulations, you're having a baby. He hugged her, kissed her forehead. This is the happiest day of my life. And Jessica couldn't breathe because she didn't know who the father was. She took a secret DNA test. No one knew. When the result came back, she collapsed. It wasn't him. It was Emily's husband. That evening, when he got home, she was sitting in the dark. She handed him the envelope. He read it, silent, then sat down. Did you know? No, just today. He nodded, but something faded in his eyes. The warmth, the tenderness, gone. I don't know what to do, she whispered. I do, he said. You're not to blame. We all chose this. But I can't stay. He left. Jessica was alone, with a baby on the way, with silence, with empty walls. Emily, that same day, received a message. Now you know how these games end. She packed her things and left town. Started fresh. No friends, no husband, no past. 2 years passed. Jessica raised her daughter alone, a girl with the eyes of Emily's husband. And every time Jessica looked at her, she remembered that night. One evening that shattered 3 lives. Emily worked at a pharmacy, rented a small room. Didn't drink, didn't smile. Lived like she was atoning for something. And every night, she had the same dream. Laughing with Jessica in that cafe. The last time they were just friends. The last time they were just friends. The last time they were just friends.